that it was important to keep the same development regulations for the overlay zone moving forward. If, however, you would want the same setback requirements to apply throughout the CMU2 zone, that is another recommendation. I will say that when the consultant and staff team first presented the development regulations, the idea was that all the setback requirements, land use requirements, would apply throughout the zone. It wasn't until the council directed us to reinstitute that residential overlay zone, the primary objective being just to allow that single-family homes could still be built in that area between Ocean Lane and the beach, that we would not render existing single-family homes a legal non-conforming use. That was the big concern. So it was initially our objective to maintain the development regulations throughout the zone and only by the residential overlay zone say that single-family homes could still be built between Ocean Lane and the beach.
Well, let me ask you this. Ocean Boulevard, which is the beach, we're requiring a 10-foot setback off of that. So that would probably be more of a coastal issue as far as getting into the coastal
view,
stuff.
lateral access issue.
And Ocean Lane, which is actually the road, is
Right.
0.
Right.
So that would be consistent.
With what
And
is,
there's obviously not going to be a house abutting it.
yeah, the only departure is that side yard 15-foot setback, which is rather significant. There is a provision in that overlay zone today that through a CUP you could deviate or provide for a flexible setback, but 15,
So you could go
decrease
less.
that. Yes.
You could decrease it.
You could decrease it.
Okay.
The idea, yeah. So
All right.
so there is some flexibility with that rather strict requirement.
Okay.
Again, our staff recommendation is to continue with those same development regulations in that residential overlay zone. I just have this. This was our actions for us to review. I just wanted to point out that we did have the design review board meeting on August 19th. There was 4 out of 5 members were in attendance and supported unanimously the recommendations that are in the commercial zoning review document. We have made it to the council by October 20th. I think that's today. And the next step, so I wanted to spend some time getting into the next steps. This may be a little bit confusing, but I'm not even sure why it's so squeezed up. But first of all, the remaining steps are to prepare the draft zoning amendments. Now, that is no small task. What we have to do is take these recommendations, prepare strikeout and underline ordinances, which this council I'm sure is familiar with seeing. That is a manual task, and it's also somewhat of a creative task to put them into an actual legal document. And then we have to also prepare the general plan and local coastal plan draft language amendments. And obviously, while this is going on, there's the environmental review for the zoning amendments and the general plan or local coastal program amendments. And then we go through we process that. We send out a screen check. There's noticing requirements. We go through the public noticing and public review process, and then city council hearing, consideration, and potential approval. Now, that would also be noticed public hearings. The entire city would be noticed in publication about these hearings, at which the actual zoning documents and general plan amendments would be reviewed and considered for approval. If approved, they would then have to go through the Coastal Commission process, submitted to the Coastal Commission as a local coastal program amendment, and reviewed by them. That puts us at a time frame of May of 2011, which is quite a ways away. However, that's the time it takes to get these things done. The time it takes is nothing compared to the financial cost it takes. We are estimating at this point and seeking authorization to continue on to negotiate with the existing consultant, who is uniquely qualified to carry on this project. There'd be a cost efficiency in proceeding on with that consultant since they've been actively involved the whole way. Estimates right now range from anywhere from $200,000 to $275,000 to do all this documentation, and the biggest cost would be the environmental review document, circulation, and review and approval and certification. There are 4 recommendations before you. One is to support staff's recommendation on the 10-foot rear yard setback in the CMU2 zone from residentially zoned property. The other would be to support the other recommendations in the document. And the third would be to support the recommendation to continue on in the residential overlay zone with the MU2 overlay zone requirements. And then the fourth would be to authorize staff to negotiate a contract with the existing consultant. And then, of course, we'd have to come back to the council for authorization to proceed with that contract. So that concludes staff's report. We're available to answer any questions. And we also would like to thank, I don't know how many people are here from the audience, the public that did participate in the workshops. It's always good to see people at the workshops, first of all, and the participation was, I guess, energetic, and wanted to thank the public who is here in attendance for their attendance at the workshop. So thanks.
I do have a couple public speaker slips on this item. I'll start with Mr. Carey.
Good evening. My name is Michael Carey, 862 4th Street. Speaking both on behalf of myself and also on behalf of the Imperial Beach concerned citizens. We were active in this collectively from the time when it resurfaced last year, and have participated during the course of the time in at least in forwarding out the cities when the city was inviting people to the different meetings and to the monthly meetings. We forward that on to our mailing list to encourage people to come. People didn't come in large numbers, but I was here for most of them, and some of us came. So we sent a letter that entered into the public record, and you should have it somewhere there. And I just want to summarize a couple of points from that. The first being that we appreciate, again, the efforts of the council and the staff, especially from the time when we all showed up at that one major meeting. I think you've done really good, hard work, and you've taken a document that was very difficult to work with and brought it down to a point where I think it's correct that the majority of us and the majority of the community agree with where you've come. Although we didn't like the overall community participation possibilities during the whole course of the thing, I did attend both of those workshops. A number of us did, and I thought Mr. Wade did a very good job, and they did a good job of presenting information and catching people up. It was a lot to absorb if you hadn't been doing it ongoingly to come into one meeting, but I thought they did a really good job with that. I think you have eliminated the egregious aspects of this project that we all came in and were so upset about, and so were you. And you've worked really hard again on that. I think at the end you have a product that has done some really good things for commercial zoning in the city. Of course, the 15-foot ceilings and a number of other things. So I'm appreciative of that. As for the issues tonight, I think I speak for myself and a good number of people who do support those 15-foot setbacks, and the other 15-foot setbacks. I just added 5 feet. 10-foot setbacks, but I just want to see if you're awake, Mr. The 10-foot setbacks, I think that would be a good addition. It's going to cost a lot of money in the long run to get this whole project done. We're getting up to, I think, $750,000 by the time we get everything done. Don't feel overly good about that. I don't think all of that was necessary, but I do think at the end you've come up with a really good project. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Made a winner?
Made a winner, 133 Citrus Avenue. Honorable Mayor, council members, and staff, Thank you for the opportunity to provide comments on the zoning review. You're to be commended on the effort you've expended in consideration of the public and their comments on these very important proposed changes to our commercial and mixed-use zoning. This is exciting stuff. My husband and I are here tonight to comment specifically on the issue of the setbacks where commercial development abuts residential properties. These are more than just residential properties. I'd like to put a little more neighborly face on it. These are our homes. As indicated in the report on the community workshop, there was broad support for the 10-foot rear yard setbacks from our residential properties. We also strongly support this setback for all commercial developments that abut our residential properties in the city. Staff has recommended that Council provide direction this evening on this specific issue. We ask the Council consider the following in their discussion. Providing a buffer between residential neighborhoods and commercial development should be applied to all residentially zoned properties. I've spoken at earlier meetings, and I don't think I need to reiterate the purpose of setbacks and their importance, but the protection of our residential neighborhoods is key to maintaining our home value and livability, and should be afforded to all residential properties regardless of their geographic location or type of impact a commercial development creates. Please consider all of us when giving direction on this sensitive issue and support the 10-foot setbacks for everyone. The results of your decision will be reflected long into the future by the improved quality of commercial development and the enhanced quality of life for our residents. And for that, we thank you.
Thank you. Before we go any further, and I know that the setbacks or something, I need to ask,